Just imagine, ladies and gentlemen, there is drinks and dinner, and there is still one panel to go at 9:05 p.m. This can't be more ruthless than that, I guess. And not only that, there are lucky draws available, and the gifts you have to take home. And of course, the liquor being served, as you know, the two best firms in the country are sponsoring it. So, we were supposed to be there for about 45 to 50 minutes. I can see on my track it's mentioned 35 minutes, but we'll try to make it by 9:30. It's already 9:05. We'll try to make it 9:30. The first session was on the soft power of Europe-India, EU-India business. The second panel, which is our panel, is on hard power of EU-India business. So we have discussed soft power, now we will discuss hard power, and hopefully in 25 minutes we should be able to wrap up. I will ask questions to my panelists. We will make it one each, time permitting the second one, and hopefully then all set for the lucky draw, drinks and dinner. Not in particular order, but Shuklaji is next to me. Mr. Shukla, who is the chairman, Mahindra Agri and Micro Irrigation. He's chairman, CIE Automotive India Limited, member Technology Development Board, Government of India, past President Society of Indian Defence Manufacturers. Actually, CV is going on and on. Great to have you, sir. My question here is that having led the multiple industry associations and CEO forums with the European Union countries, how do you see the European Union-India partnerships in manufacturing sector evolving over the next decade? The question is, how do you see EU-India manufacturing sector developing over next decade or so?
Thank you so much, Robin. Instead of just rattling off sectors, what I would like to do is put a conceptual framework. Why do collaborations happen? Collaborations are when two sides have something to give to each other. And once you look at that framework, you can see many things where India and EU can collaborate. First and foremost, which always comes to mind, is an area where one country has a technology and other may not have same technology to that extent. That is, an example will be aerospace, where India and EU will have, and they have, excellent collaboration. I have been party to some of those agreements. Second area where collaborations happen are when both the countries have technology as well as industry, but productivity or efficiency in one country is superior to another, and therefore they learn from each other. There are many such areas where you define productivity as value added per employee. And you find, I personally find from my experience, there are areas, there are sectors where productivity defined in terms of value added per employee is much higher in several European countries compared to India. India is still able to compete because wage costs are lower. But as wage costs rise, we will need to have learnings from European companies to improve productivity, basically through best practices and automation. The third area where collaborations, this automotive component industry is one such example. Talking about third area where collaborations happen is where economies of scale or the market comes in. Take for example defense. If a European company wants to do business in India, due to several policies in place, and there is only one customer, the Government of India, collaborations are necessary, they are a helpful leverage to do business. And fourth, of course, is where you bring in economies of scale, partnerships. So I can see going ahead in agri sector, collaborations and partnerships can be another area where processing, micro irrigation, where many European countries have excellent systems in Spain, like Spain, France, Italy, and India has one of the largest areas in the world which is both under irrigation and one which needs irrigation. So I'll stop here, but there are at least 12 sectors I can see in manufacturing where India and EU will benefit greatly from working together. I hope that some extent answers it.
Thank you, Dr. Shukla. What you're saying is there are more than a dozen areas where these two areas of India and EU can collaborate together in the manufacturing sector. Of course, India wages is growing and increasing, as you rightly mentioned, and of course, this collaboration, the opportunities of collaborations are now much more. Having said that, I move to there. Mr. Uday Singh, MD and CEO, Schneider Electric Infrastructure Limited. You are from the electrical area. I don't know whether you have a mic or not. Do you have one? Excellent. EU India, electricity, electrical area. Would you like to say that what are the commonalities between the two? Are there any learnings which we can have between the two regions? Or are there a lot of differences between the two? Could you please tell us more about this?
Thanks, Robin, and I'm very much aware there's a clock running by, so I will be very limited in my response. But I think the fact remains is there's a commonality. Of course, there's a commonality.
Is the mic okay? Can anyone hear?
Are you able to hear?
Yeah, now it's
Thank you. So there is a commonality, and we speak about, when we speak about grids is where we come into and just give you a sense. India grids is something very similar to what we see in European countries. Perhaps the scale is different, and what we really look is India is expanding. We just heard, and everyone is aware that we have outpaced our own ambition at the pace at which we are trying to embrace renewables. And what it means is that there needs to be a digitalization which has to happen, which is where perhaps India has to catch up, and which has already been existing. And for example, you said, and the company which I represent, Schneider Electric, is this European company, and what we are trying to do is trying to act like global manufacturing, which means that we are bringing in global technologies and trying to localize and adapt it for India. Just to give you a sense, we have modernized a grid in Bihar, where the digital solutions which we have provided has actually increased and enhanced the reliability of the grid by 90%, and has optimized the energy losses by 80%. So there are multiple areas, Robin, if I would say, put it, like cyber security is something which is again is giving a avenue for collaboration. Two, if you speak about the digitalization as such, I think all of us are aware that $1 saved on the supply side actually reflects $3 of the other side. So all the solutions which you has perhaps reached to a level, I think it is important to be done. And I will end with just making one more statement, which is interoperability. We have been talking about it. It sounds good, but it is really meaningful, which we should have. Because unless until we have this, it reinforces the confidence of investors, the users across two regions, and will also enhance and make the grids more future ready. And also sort of dependence will go up, so that the capacity built up which will happen here and the skill which will be built up here will eventually be used by EU also. So I think there's a lot of commonality if I could have answered.
Thank you. There you said there's lots of areas which the two nations or two nation areas can collaborate, is what I can understand. I'm quite sure people would love to know more, but what to do, dinner time is almost arrived, so we are cutting it short. I go to my good friend Venkatesh. Venkatesh is Managing Director, Vatsila India, Director Energy Business. He looks after energy. We're all talking about energy, how to make energy more viable, I guess. My question, Venkatesh, to US on a different tag, it's on how do we use the hybrid solutions? Because I believe there is no hybrid solutions, whether it's gas, electricity, power, various methods of power. What other learnings India and EU can have in these hybrid solutions? It's a difficult topic, we understand, but a lot of people would like to know about what we can learn from each other.
Thank you, Robin, and that's a very, very important question which we need to understand and also address. India, actually I'll start with India, then we can connect to the EU. India is already a great leader in setting up that direction towards non-fossil fuel sources of energy by 2030 towards 500 gigawatt. In this journey, we were also already thinking about half of our generation to come from renewable sources within next 3 years. But the momentum which has picked up, we are already at that level now. So the pace in which it is going ahead, renewables adding to the system, has picked up real momentum, and that direction which the government has set in is really going good. So we are one of the top leaders there in that direction of setting up the renewable energy on it. Together with that renewable energy, we all know sun can just go away, there is no sun power then, and the wind can just stop within a few seconds. So the intermittency of these solutions would need to be supported very well with balancing flexible solutions. Flexible solutions which can come up in a few minutes or few seconds even. So we need to address this, and that is where I would now connect. That's the next change which India would need to start look at, and there is a lot of synergy which we can learn from EU and the developments which are happening. For example, I'm representing a Finnish company. There we have solutions which can take care of milliseconds challenges through the storage solutions, battery storage and other storage solutions. And then the minute solutions which is coming through the combustion engines, which are more run on today maybe gas, but then tomorrow when sustainable fuels start to be available at the right price, we heard also in our previous panel discussion about today maybe the hydrogen or the sustainable fuels are at $8 to a kilo, which will come down towards a $1, $1.50 type of economics. Then we are also talking about moving towards that greener solutions there. So with this combination of multiple sources in the ecosystem, we need to address this bigger energy transition directions. So hybrid surely will play a role, and we have to take the different solutions into perspective, and what we are looking at is a net zero. We are not talking about everything is so clear. We will still need coal, our base load, for long time to come. That is the power which is giving us the cheapest power. But today, as the development has happened, the solar and also the wind are also picking up towards that direction, and storage also, economics coming down in that. Together with these multiple solutions, we need to bring up an ecosystem which will be addressable. In today's scenario, India is normally looking at a 15-minute type of interval. That needs to change, and that is where again learnings from EU will come. We need to look at 5-minute intervals and also even lesser minute intervals when more renewables are into the system. So our direction is right. We need to have mechanisms in place and also supports in place which will take care of our journey in this energy transition. This journey of energy transition is not about 1 or 2 years. It's a journey which we have encompassed for the next 20 plus, 30 plus years, 2070 net zero. In some sectors, we may need to expedite that and increase that, and that is where we would see maybe energy expediting faster, maybe towards the 2035 or 2030, and that direction we have to compensate and complement each other. There, again, the learnings from EU will help, because a lot of those countries, together with the companies, have ambitious targets of 2035, 2040, which will also help us in this journey. So with that, I will maybe hope I addressed your question on that, Robin.
Thank you. What a wonderful thing you said. Sun doesn't shine all the time, wind doesn't blow all the time, and therefore you need a hybrid solution. Wonderful. Wonderful. I do hope world changes fast enough and we get into the sustainable energy. I moved to, sustainable source of energy. I moved to Dr. Santosh Bhosle. He is the government, he represents government of Maharashtra, he is a joint secretary there. He has lots of things to do there, including he works very closely and is the personal advisor to the Deputy Chief Minister of the State of Finance and Planning. Dr. Bhosle, you do a lot of work in CSR and healthcare. We understand you have raised more than $100 million to make a difference in the CSR. Now, we are today talking about manufacturing, hard aspects of EU-India. How do you think the contributions in CSR make a difference in the ecosystem of manufacturing, especially when we talk in terms of India-EU relationship or learning from each other?
So thank you. We all were there, when COVID happened, whether it was Europe, whether it was Asia, we all were there in this together. And I had an opportunity to collaborate. There's a lot being talked about collaboration, and I had a first-hand view how countries came together, whether it is Singapore, where it is countries like Japan, European countries like Germany, France. I would like to give one example, not specifically about manufacturing, but then one company specifically from France called Capgemini invested over and above CSR budgets, almost 100 plus crores, into upgrading facilities in hospitals across Maharashtra. But then one of the things that they offered us, and we decided that we'll do, it was mentioned during the last panel about ASHA workers. How do we invest in position of strength? It's not only about money. It's about what our know-how is. And Capgemini actually stepped in. It helped us build a decision support system, a complete digitalization of the frontline health workers. ASHA workers are champions. They were there in COVID. And what we are doing basically with them now is we are trying to see how we can create village health profiles, where before COVID hits or any other pandemic hits, we know exactly what kind of population, how much population is actually going to be affected, and trying to see how we can work proactively. So manufacturing aspect, I think so. What we saw, India contributed big time. We are called pharmacy of the world. But then we can give an example. Project Walk Street, which was a COVID vaccine project, which was basically started in the United States. But then we manufactured them, and we manufactured them in India, institute called Serum, and I think so millions of lives were saved, not just in India but across the world. So I think so, and that collaboration was from Europe. Swedish and Anglo-Swedish company called AstraZeneca and Serum Institute collaborated with Oxford University to come up with the vaccine. What key word that I would like to mention is the collaborative ecosystem, the collaborative, innovative ecosystem. I think so. We were all together in that, and we are going to be in this together, whether it is a pandemic or a climate change initiative that is coming, climate change challenges that are coming up in future towards us. That's my experience that I had during COVID and post-COVID. Thank you.
Dr. Bhosle, you couldn't give a better example as to how collaboration, social benefit and manufacturing took place in saving the mankind when the biggest disaster took place, which was the pandemic. What an example you gave, sir. I promised all of you that we will break up at 9:30. It is 9:24 now. I will ask one question to all the panelists, one question common. We can start from Venkatesh. What is it that one thing you would suggest to make a difference into India-EU relationship? What is one thing you would suggest, either to the government or to whoever you want, one thing you suggest to make a difference to the EU-India relationship?
If you would see the R&D and innovation efforts in EU is very strong and very high. And in India, we are spending an amount which is very, very small, and that effort needs to be complemented together with EU, and we need to join hands together in bringing up those innovations and R&D into India, and that type of engagement is what I would put on top priority.
Well said, wow. Dr. Shukla, over to you. One thing you want to make a difference, one thing you suggest. You have seen it all so far.
If only one thing we were to talk about, and it's a vast subject since I'm so keen on academia, it will be education. The countries with whom India has had best partnerships, economic, commercial, industrial, technological relationships were those where many Indians went to study and came back. Whether UK, Oxford, Cambridge, we had one Prime Minister, or US, from where we get many people. Education builds the foundation. Young people, whether they stay back in those countries or when they come back, they become the bridge between the countries, and they promote technology, economic, commercial partnerships. Vast subject, but that's all I can say in short time. Thank you.
Wonderful. Dr. Shukla says education. Couldn't get better than that. Let's see what Dr. Bhosle has to say. What would you suggest, sir? One thing.
So the theme, as the past speakers have said, it's all about collaboration. It's collaborative, innovative ecosystem. I'll give you quickly one example how change can happen. I was talking about AstraZeneca. We talked a lot about climate change, which is coming towards us. Whether we look at it or not, but then it is coming, and Europe is leading that. We did one project with AstraZeneca where they distributed clean cook stoves, and this was a gold standard carbon credit project. This was invested through CSR initiative of AstraZeneca. And what we have done coming out of it is the carbon credits that were generated out of it are being invested back into those women. 20,000 women we distributed the carbon credits. We are providing them with a cancer insurance, a micro cancer insurance where if any of the women goes through an episode of cancer would get an 8 lakh rupees cover. So such innovative initiatives, I think so, between India and EU, whether it is a Dutch partner, whether it is a German partner like Bayer, we have done amazing work into sustainability. I think so, where there is a problem, there's also a solution. And I think so, we all, if we work together, I think so, we can solve it. I think so, that's my suggestion.
Excellent, Dr. Bhosle. Innovative collaboration. Technology, education, innovation. Uday.
Nothing great to add. I'm still watching the time. But just to tell you, Robin, I think
It's left. And 1 minute for you.
So India has a scale and agility, and I think Europe has been very rich in the standards and policies. Now, just to give you a sense as to what Dr. Saab said, just to give an example, like at Schneider, we have, like EU has banned use of SF6 gas. This is a gas which is being used in the power equipment which is manufactured, and is one of the potent greenhouse gases. As high as about 24,000 times the CO2 equivalent in kgs. So if these policies are embraced by manufacturers and other stakeholders in India, I think and the good news is it has started. We ourselves, the company has actually supplied to few of the progressive discoms equipment which is free of this SF6. Other things perhaps, Robin, which is very important is, the CBAM is coming, the cross-border, adjustment mechanism. Now, how can we really do in terms of some policy support so that, our own manufacturing setup which are getting, which will extensively get themselves changed by extensive usage of IoT and other elements which are, smarter, how do they keep aligning these standards so that they are ready for, then supplies and the association between EU and India can perhaps go on? These are a couple of points.
Excellent, excellent. Energy. So it's energy, innovation, collaboration, education, technology. Inga, you are there, ma'am. He wants to share some India-Latvia example with you. So with your permission, we have 9:29, by the way. Over to you.
Thank you. Madam Ambassador, I wanted to share an interesting tidbit, small info, which some people might know, but majority may not. As you know, the Sanskrit is the mother of most Indian languages. Within India, Bengali is closest to Sanskrit. But in Europe, the language closest to Sanskrit is Latvian. Not many people know about it. Many people know that Sanskrit and Latin are close, but they don't know within the Latin branch, the Baltic branch, and Latvian is the closest. So I wanted to say that it's so appropriate that guest of honor is yourself. I just wanted to share that small tidbit.
Thank you, thank you. You want to say something? Yes, go ahead.
Small comment. I included this fact in my speech, and one of my sons told me, "Mom, talk about Indian students. Sanskrit, it's very old artifact, so probably it's not in the context." So I will preach my sons that I needed to include this in my speech.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 9:30. And I don't think we have time to ask a question, but in case somebody has the burning one before the drink is getting served, dinner is later. Anyone has a burning question? Yes, there is one. Sir, you are between drink and dinner.
I'll be very curious, am I audible? I'm Professor Mahendra Chauhan, so I was trying to speak without the speaker because professors can do that. So I want to ask a question to Uday Singh, but before the question, compliments for Schneider being adjudged as the world's most sustainable company by Times Magazine. And I love your concept about the green yodhas. These are the two compliments I want to pay you first. But I'm aware that I read somewhere that Schneider helps its customers to achieve their own decarbonization targets and energy efficiency targets. How do you do that, if you can quickly tell us that?
Thank you for really appreciating towards the end of the program. And you're right. At Schneider, sustainability has been at our core for multiple decades, I would say. Just to give you a sense, what we say that we deliver for our customers, we also have done in our own factories also. For example, one of the factory in Hyderabad, which we have, is recognized as Lighthouse Factory by World Economic Forum. And this has been running for last about 4 years or so. And just to give you a sense, there are multiple things which we could do, because that's what we tell and showcase that when our customers do visit us and they see the setup. For example, we have reduced efficiency close to about, the emissions of CO2 has gone down by 63%. The energy efficiency has actually become about 52% more efficient. We have been able to identify that the defects which we have lines, manufacturing lines, over 90% when it was not there. The field failure rate has gone down by 50+%. And these are the data which we actually, when we showcase to any customer of ours who really want to set up a manufacturing site, This is a true examples which we have done by ourselves. And we do promote and speak about something which we call as green. So it's not only the technologies which have been coming from Europe, as to say, it's also how do you productionize them here, how do you really automate it by either putting digital twins or sort of getting dashboards which really help you in terms of course correcting your sense of going wrong, and also taking the steps of things which are optimizing and enhancing the life of the equipment inside. I don't know whether I have answered you, sir, but this is one of the few things. Thank you so much for really appreciating it.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much. It was wonderful talking to all of you. And I think I had one of the best panel I've ever had. Thank you all of you. Thank you.